Welcome to Learn the Sky, your online resource for learning about the constellations and how to find them. If you're new to this channel, be sure to click the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications about new videos. Learn the Sky is also on Patreon, so if you'd like to support this channel, the link is listed below. And finally, if you would like to study the sky in greater detail and need a guide, visit learnthesky.com to learn more about our online classes we offer. Welcome to Learn the Sky. My name is Janine and I'll be your instructor throughout this video about Pisces the Fish. Pisces is a very ancient constellation and it has been observed throughout thousands of years by very ancient civilizations. So let's go ahead and get a broad overview of this constellation before we get into the details of it. Pisces has been known since ancient times as a representation of either one fish or a pair of fish. Its name is the plural Latin form of fish, and it's classified as a zodiacal constellation, which means that the sun passes through this particular constellation. It's best seen in the autumn months in the northern hemisphere, and out of all the zodiacal constellations, this one is pretty difficult to spot since most of the stars have a magnitude of 3 or more. So if we take a look, this is what Pisces looks like in the sky. So when can you see it? It's best seen in the northern hemisphere during the autumn months, and the best way to find it is to look for the great square of Pegasus asterism. And from there, you can try to find the circlet asterism that's located nearby. So if we're looking at this picture, here's the great square of Pegasus. Okay, this area of the sky is very easy to identify. It's just a giant square in the autumn sky. And then close by, you want to look for the circlet right here. It's kind of this ring of stars, and this represents one of the heads of the fish. Now, if you do want to see this constellation, you really do need some very dark skies to see it. Most of the surrounding constellations really outshine Pisces. So here we have Pegasus, we have Andromeda coming off Pegasus, and then right here is Aries. So those are the constellations you want to look for if you're trying to find Pisces. The best thing about Pisces is that there are multiple galaxies to view within the boundaries of this constellation, but some major magnification is needed to see most of these galaxies. Let's examine a couple of the legends that are associated with Pisces. Remember, there is no one true constellation story, as the legends of the stars vary depending upon the culture and place. We do know that Pisces is a very ancient constellation, and throughout the ancient Mesopotamian times, its name has varied depending upon the culture. So here we can see what each of these cultures named this particular constellation, and all these names essentially mean fish. And fish in particular have a symbolic reference in many religions and cultures. So let's take a look at the Babylonian star catalogs. So this was a star catalog of 71 different stars and constellations, and that the way that this star catalog worked is that the stars have a prefix of MUL and then the name of the deity behind it. So this is the particular one that we see for Pisces. And the Babylonian star catalogs were very important because it really was the first records we have of how the constellations rose and how they set together. They also talked about the constellations that are simultaneously at the zenith and horizon. It talked about the path of the moon, the planets, it had a solar calendar, all this information. And this, of course, was important because during this time, this is when agriculture first started to develop, and we humans used the stars as a calendar in order to record time and know when to plant, when to harvest, and so on and so forth. If we move forward in time, we can look at Greek mythology. Here, we can look at the story of Aphrodite and Eros. So there are many versions of this story. This is one that I found, but Typhon, the father of all the monsters, descended upon Mount Olympus, and he was threatening all of the gods and goddesses. And as he approached, Aphrodite and her son Eros found themselves in need to escape. So they turned themselves into fish, and they just swam away to safety. After this event happened, the fish were placed in the sky to be honored. And like I said, there's alternate versions of this. One is that they turn themselves into a fish, or that they other gods turn them into fish. So there's variations on how this happened. So Pisces is also located in the region of the sky known as the sea or the water, and that's because it's really surrounded by lots of constellations that are associated with water. So we have Aquarius nearby, that's close to Pisces, and Capricorn, and Cetus, Eridanus, Pisces Australis, Delphinus is very close by as well. So this area is known as the sea or the water since it's surrounded by many other watery creatures. We can also look at Greek mythology as well. Ichthys was an ancient Greek name of Pisces as well. And Pisces, remember, is the Latinized version of the word fish. We can look at many other cultures. I'm really just scratching the surface here. But in Babylonian culture, we had Apkallu, which was a demigod. And you can see here that he's wearing the skin of a fish right there. And in Hinduism, we have Avatar Vishnu right here. You can see he is also has a fish as a part of his being. We can keep going here. We have a Syrian goddess, Atargatis. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. You can see on this ancient coin that she is wearing the body of a fish. And then I couldn't help to think about the stories that I grew up with about Jesus, about how he fed feeding the multitude with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. So as I'm researching this, I'm like, this story kind of rang true in my head in terms of just showing me how there's so many different stories about fish in many religions throughout the ages. And Pisces can be connected to many of these ancient religions and stories and cultures. Now we will review the pattern that Pisces makes across the sky. So let's first start with the official star map of this constellation that's released by the International Astronomical Union. And one thing that you can notice is that there's a blue line going right through this constellation, and that blue line is known as the ecliptic, which is the path of the sun. The other thing I want you to notice about this star map is notice how tiny the stars are when you compare them to all the other surrounding constellations. And the size of these stars really tells us about the magnitude of the stars. And remember, the magnitude scale, the lesser the number means the brighter the star. So it's an inverse relationship. So you see most of the constellations surrounding Pisces have a magnitude of 2 or 3, where most of the stars of Pisces are just more faint. We have right here, this is a brighter star, the alpha star, the beta star here. But this makes it really difficult to identify and make out that pattern in the sky. But if you know what surrounds Pisces, then that's what you can use to find it, such as Pegasus and the Great Square asterism, as well as Aries. So let's take a look at a picture here. So we're looking. For me, I'm not even looking for Pisces right away. I just want to find that great square of Pegasus, which is pretty obvious in this picture. It's towards the upper right section of this picture. So if you can find right here the great square of Pegasus, then you want to look for the circlet, which is located right here. It's just kind of that ring of stars. And if you're not seeing it, that's okay. This is one of those constellations that took me years to be able to find. I just wasn't sure what I was looking at, and mostly because the stars are so faint. So if we were to point out what Pisces would look like, here is its pattern across the sky. So as you probably noticed, Pegasus right here, the great square, really stands out. And then this grouping of stars, this right here is Aries. So these are the stars and constellations that you want to use to help you find this particular constellation. Here also is Andromeda, or at least part of this constellation. So sometimes if I find the great square, I'll go to this next reddish star in Andromeda and just kind of go downwards, and then that will help me find the rest of Pisces. The part of Pisces that I find that is the easiest to find is really the circlet, and that's located right next to Pegasus. All right, here's another photo, and this one is an artificial photo. It's one that's pulled from a planetarium program, but one of the reasons I've always struggled to do this video is because it is really hard to photograph this constellation because the stars are so faint. But we can still use this for practice. So can you find the Great Square of Pegasus? It stands out for sure in this photograph. And then located right underneath it is the circlet of Pisces. That's an asterism. And remember, an asterism is it's not a true constellation, but a pattern or shape that helps us find other constellations. So if you can find the Great Square right there, here is the circlet, and then from there you can trace out the tail, and then here's the other fish. So if we were to look at this, that's what this looks like. Also, Aries is located right here. And so if we envision this, here is one head of the fish, here's the other, and then they're supposedly tied together by this point in the constellation. So remember that Pisces is located in that region of the sky known as the sea or water, because there's many watery creatures that surround this constellation. In the last portion of our video, we'll take a look at the celestial objects that sit within the boundaries of Pisces. So here we have our official star map, and you can see the major celestial object that we're going to take a look at is M74. But I wanted to show you a different map that I found because it shows that there are a lot more galaxies that are shown here than on the previous map. So we're not going to take a look at all the galaxies that are here, but we'll just focus on a few really interesting ones. The first one is Messier 74, and this is a spiral galaxy that's estimated to be 30 million light years away. So here this has the classic spiral shape that we can see in so many spiral galaxies. You can see the core of the galaxy right here, and then the arms winding outwards from the center. So this particular galaxy was discovered in 1780, and there have been different types of supernova that have been observed in this particular galaxy. So this is one that you can try to find if you have some really dark skies. Okay, and next we have NGC 488. I love the picture of this galaxy because it's just that picture perfect spiral galaxy, and it's estimated to be 90 million light years, and we just see this face-on view of this spiral galaxy, and it has a large area right here that's considered to be part of the core of this galaxy, and the arms here you can see are much more tightly wound when you look at this particular one. So here the arms are a little more loose, where here it's the arms are much more closely bound together. Okay, and this is the area in which you would be able to find this galaxy if you have the right kinds of magnification. And then next we have NGC 520, and this is an interesting object to view because it's a pair of colliding spiral galaxies that's estimated to be 78 million light years away. So we often see galactic collisions, but we're still learning about their evolution and why this happens. And you can kind of see there's this odd dust lane that goes through the one galaxy, and for me, I find it even difficult to point out the spiral shapes here, but this is a great object to view. But of course, this was taken by the Hubble telescope, so we're not going to see this kind of detail when we look at it with our telescopes. But even so, we know that it's there, and it's an interesting object to study. So let's review over everything we learned about Pisces. It's best seen in the autumn months, and it's classified as a zodiacal constellation since the sun passes through it. The best way to find it is to look for the Great Square of Pegasus, and then the circlet asterism, which is a part of Pisces, is nearby that Great Square. There aren't very many bright stars in this constellation, which really makes it difficult to identify. So be patient with yourself and try to find some really dark skies, and that will be helpful in your quest to find Pisces. There are a few celestial objects, all of them galaxies. They are too faint really to see, but this is a great area if you do happen to have any kinds of equipment to look at these spiral galaxies. This is a great constellation to do so. So I wish you luck at finding this constellation. This is one that really took me quite a few years to get comfortable with trying to find it, and even sometimes I'm still struggling to connect the dots, but that's okay. Just enjoy yourself when you're going out, and just think that as you're looking at this constellation, it's one that has been viewed for thousands of years across many cultures. Take care and good luck, and keep looking up.